Mandatory voting, or what some call compulsory voting. Is it effective in increasing voter turnout? And what are the benefits and dangers of implementing this compulsory voting? Subscribe now, and let's talk about it. Let's first understand what mandatory voting is and how it works. Compulsory voting, also known as mandatory voting or universal civic duty voting, is a system in which all eligible voters within a state, district, province, or country are required to cast a ballot in an election. Countries with mandatory voting laws typically have penalties for non-compliance, such as fines or even imprisonment. In some countries, these laws are only in certain regions, while other countries may have the law nationwide. The idea behind compulsory voting is simply to get everyone involved in the democratic process. The goal here is to ensure that every voice is heard and that voter turnout remains high. According to the World Population Review, the following countries have some form of compulsory voting laws, and some even have consequences for not voting. There are, however, exceptions that can be applied to these laws, such as the fact that these compulsory voting laws only apply to people over a certain age. Such laws may also exclude people who can't read, or even allow absence from voting due to health reasons. Some considerations may also be made to where a potential voter is located, in comparison to the polling stations. As previously mentioned, the aim of mandatory voting is to involve everyone in the democratic process. But is this actually effective? Data shows that voter turnout in countries that have compulsory voting tend to be among the highest in the world. It has been argued that countries such as Australia, Belgium, and Uruguay, which have successfully implemented compulsory voting, have experienced significant increase in voter turnout. We should mention Australia as an example. After turning 18, every Australian is required to show up at the voting station unless a sufficient reason for not voting is provided. Historically, Australia has had impressively high voter turnout numbers after they implemented the compulsory voting practice in 1924. Since this introduction of mandatory voting, Australia has always had more than 90% of eligible voters show up at the booths. However, this declined to just under 90% during the 2022 election. It's possible that the reverse isn't always true. Countries such as Denmark, Sweden, and Indonesia, which do not have compulsory voting laws, also tend to pull higher voter turnouts. Even though voting is not compulsory in these nations, high voter turnout is nevertheless observed. Let's now look at some of the pros, as well as cons, of mandatory voting. On the one hand, mandatory voting laws typically lead to higher voter turnout. This is because people are required and expected to vote, even if they don't want to. But on the other hand, politicians and lawmakers may not address underlying issues that lead to such low turnout, like reasons for voter apathy, or even other socio-economic barriers. Another advantage of compulsory voting is that, when more people vote, the government is more likely to be representative of the population as a whole. This is because people from all walks of life are more likely to be represented in government. Some people, however, argue that mandatory voting can lead to vote buying and coercion by people being bribed or even coerced to vote for a particular candidate or a particular law. Mandatory voting can also lead to increased citizen engagement. This is because, when people are required to vote, they are more likely to learn about the candidates and the issues. This can lead to more informed citizenry and a more engaged democracy. In contrast to this, some people argue that making voting compulsory can lead to uninformed voting, with people just voting for the sake of voting, without knowing anything about the candidates or the issues they are voting on. In conclusion, let's explore some of the reasons behind this phenomena of low voter turnout. One of the factors that may contribute to low voter turnout is voter apathy. This is when many citizens feel disconnected from the political process or believe that their votes won't make any difference. This sense of apathy can therefore lead to lower turnout. Some people may also simply not be interested in politics or in certain issues, or even be aware of their voting rights, and may not be concerned about elections. Low voter turnout may also be caused by socioeconomic factors. Due to this challenge, some citizens may struggle to access polling stations as a result of poverty or lack of transportation, making it challenging for them to vote. Therefore, voting may be considered as more of an inconvenience, especially if they have to travel long distances, or wait in long queues, or even spend money to get to their nearest polling stations. Political discontent, dissatisfaction with leaders, or a lack of trust in the system can also discourage people from voting. Voters may also be disillusioned with government and feel that their vote won't make a difference. Please note that these are not the only contributing factors, and some may not even apply to certain countries and regions. However, if you want to read more about these factors and other reasons for low voter turnout, please check out the links in the description section below. So, with all these challenges in mind, should countries even consider implementing compulsory voting? Would it help reverse the decline in voter turnout? Share your thoughts by leaving us a comment below this video. And please take time to check out these other videos on public management, public administration, and public finance, including the running of government, under this channel. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content. And also remember to turn on the notification button to make sure that you don't miss out when we post new videos. You can also connect with us by following us on social media at consultation, and continue the conversation by leaving us a comment below this video or tagging us on social media using the hashtag consultation. Thank you again for watching. Join us again next time for another video. Until then, check out these other videos. Kano Consultants. For professional advice you can trust.